Hey there, I'm Jamie. Let's take a trip down memory lane to a time when vaping was as integral to my day as breathing, as crucial beating of my heart. It was a period of my life that I often refer to as my vaping days. You see, it all started rather innocently, much like a harmless experiment. A simple curiosity that piqued my interest at social gatherings, a way to fit in with the crowd or just break the ice. It was just a thing, a pastime, an occasional indulgence that came to life under the twinkle of party lights or tucked away in the solitude of smoke breaks. But as days rolled into weeks and weeks into months, it began to morph, subtly at first, then all at once. The casual puff during breaks transformed into a compulsive ritual, and parties were no longer the only stage where it played out. It started accompanying me everywhere. The harmless experiment soon became the puppeteer, pulling my strings, dictating my life. It was no longer a thing to do. It began to define who I was. What started as a social accessory soon turned into my constant companion. It wasn't just about nicotine. It was about the solace I found in the swirling smoke, the rhythm in the inhale and exhale, a coping mechanism, a crutch that I leaned on to make it through the mundaneness of everyday life. It was an escape, a way out of my problems, my stress, my worries. But in reality, it was merely a trap, a prison that I willingly walked into. It started molding me, changing me. The nonchalant partygoer turned into the anxious addict. I was spiraling, losing control. Vaping was no longer a part of my life. It was my life. It was the first thought in the morning, the last one at night. It became the oxygen I breathed, the blood in my veins. It grew into something that felt essential for getting through my day. One morning, I awoke to a daybreak symphony of songbirds. But my attention was immediately drawn to a harsh, hacking cough that came from deep within my chest. As I sat on the edge of my bed, shivering with the cold truth of reality, I found my gaze drifting towards my vape pen that lay discarded on the nightstand. The pen, once a source of pleasure, was now a symbol of my dependence. It dawned on me, then and there, that this was no longer just a casual occasional indulgence. This was a habit that had taken hold of me, a habit that I could no longer ignore. I knew I needed to quit, yet the thought was not just daunting but terrifying. How could I, who had relied on this crutch for so long, suddenly abandon it? The idea of not having the familiar device in my hand, not inhaling that flavored vapor, was like imagining a world without color or sound. It impossible, insurmountable. In the attempts to cushion the harsh truth, I initially tried to downplay the seriousness of my addiction. It's just vaping, I told myself, trying to justify my inability to quit. I found myself to other more harmful habits. It's not like it's cigarettes, I would argue, trying to convince myself that what I was doing wasn't really that detrimental. But as time passed, I found it harder and harder to ignore the gnawing realization inside me. I knew I was only kidding myself, just trying to mask the truth. The reality was that my health was declining. I could feel it in the raspiness of my voice, in the persistent tiredness that never seemed to lift, in the rattling cough that had become my morning ritual. More than that, I felt controlled. Controlled by an object, by a habit. Controlled by my need to vape, a need that loomed large over the entirety of my life. I felt like I was caught in a never-ending cycle, one that was gradually pulling me under. My health was declining, and I felt controlled by my need to vape. My transformative moment arrived when, quite by chance, I happened upon a blog. It was authored by a wellness coach who was a virtuoso in the realm of natural health practices. This coach, with their profound grasp of holistic living, provided a fresh perspective that seemed to echo my own thoughts and feelings. They explored in depth the power of holistic living, a philosophy that honors the mind, body, and spirit's interconnection. They shared their personal narrative, a unique and inspiring journey of battling addiction using natural remedies, effectively putting their life back on track. Their story was captivating, a beacon of hope for individuals trapped in the vicious cycle of substance abuse. The coach's triumph over adversity was not just motivational, but also educational. It was a testament to the power of natural remedies and holistic living, offering a viable alternative to traditional addiction treatments. In a world where we're constantly inundated with quick fixes and miracle solutions, their story was a breath of fresh air. It was a reminder that healing takes time, patience, and commitment to oneself. All of this was a revelation to me, a much-needed wake-up call that I needed to shift my lifestyle too. I was inspired by their journey and decided to forge my own path in the same direction. Driven by this newfound resolve, I took decisive action. I discarded all my vape gear, symbolizing my determination to break free from the shackles of this unhealthy habit. In its place, I filled my life with wholesome alternatives. I stocked up on herbal teas known for their calming properties and essential oils that offered therapeutic benefits. I decided to embrace yoga, a practice known for its power to manage stress and promote overall well-being. Furthermore, I became a part of an online community, a support group where people shared their journeys to quit vaping, encouraging each other along the way. These changes weren't easy, but I was determined. My turning point came, and I seized it. I committed to attending yoga classes to manage stress and joined an online support group of people sharing their own journeys to quit vaping. It wasn't easy. There were times when the gravitational pull towards temptation felt insurmountable, moments flooded with longing, and days where the overwhelming urge to give in nearly consumed me. Each day was a battle, each craving a hurdle to overcome. I held steadfast to my resolve, even when the path was laden with trials. Slowly, the weeks resembled a tapestry woven with courage and fortitude, their fabrics seamlessly transitioning into months. Endurance paved the way for transformation, gradually replacing the yearning of old with healthier patterns. I could sense the evolution within, like a caterpillar undergoing metamorphosis. The first thing I noticed was how I breathed easier. Each breath seemed fuller, deeper, as if I had been deprived of air before and was just beginning to truly breathe. An invigorating surge of energy coursed through me, not superficial kind triggered by a vape hit, but the kind that truly revitalizes. It was as if I had found a hitherto untapped reservoir of vitality. And then there was the heightened awareness, the profound presence in my everyday life. I felt more connected, not just to the world around me, but to myself too. The fog had lifted and I began to see things more clearly, experiencing life through a lens untarnished by the haze of vaping. Today, I am incredibly proud to say that I've not only quit vaping, but I've also embraced a lifestyle that prioritizes my well-being. This journey of personal growth and self-discovery has sparked a new passion within me. I've discovered immense joy in helping others who are grappling with similar challenges. By sharing my journey and the holistic strategies that worked for me, I am now a beacon of hope for those caught in the grip of addiction. If you're feeling overwhelmed by the thought of quitting vaping, know that you're not alone. This is a common sentiment shared by many who are caught in the grip of this addictive habit, and it's completely normal to feel this way. We understand your fears and concerns, and we want you to know that there's a path forward for you. Quitting vaping doesn't have to be a massive, insurmountable hurdle. More often than not, it begins with small, manageable changes. We're talking about making tiny adjustments in your day-to-day life. Changes so minor, you may not even notice them at first. It could be as simple as deciding not to vape first thing in the morning or delaying your usual vape break by an hour or two. What's important is that you take the first step. It may seem insignificant or trivial but this first step will set you on a new path. A path where you're no longer controlled by your vaping habit, but instead, you're in control. Why not replace one vaping session with a short meditation or a walk? Swap out the familiar sensation of the vape for the calming, restorative power of deep breaths and mindful moments. Or experience the refreshing, invigorating freedom of a brisk walk around the block. You might be surprised at how simple yet effective these small changes can be. Each step you take, no matter how small it may seem, is a step in the right direction. And it's these small steps, taken consistently over time, that can lead to profound transformations. You'll look back one day and marvel at how far you've come, you might be surprised at how quickly small steps can lead to a big change.